When the pandemic first came to the Bay Area, the NBA was one of the first organizations to take action against the spread of the coronavirus by ending their season completely. For basketball fans, this shock was both a win and a loss. I sat down with a local basketball lover to hear his thoughts on the NBA's actions during the pandemic and what it looks like back home for basketball lovers alike. Well, thanks for sitting with me. So, when did your journey with basketball kind of begin?
Basketball for me started from a really young age. My dad played basketball, and he was the first in our family to play. So I kind of grew up with it. When I was a kid, I was probably in kindergarten, and my dad was playing in rec leagues and stuff that, I don't really remember. I wasn't. I think I was a little bit too young for when he was more active. And then he became my coach, and I started playing probably around fifth, sixth grade, and went through high school, and then I still play now.
Okay, so with everything going on, there's definitely been some sort of change to the world of sports as we know it. What do you remember about that first day when the NBA, being one of the first organizations to take action against the spread of COVID, made the announcement that they'd be closing off their season? What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was huge. I, I remember kind of it being mid-March. I think March 14th, March 12th was kind of around the date that, um, it is in my mind for when COVID started to affect sports because I listened to a lot of sports podcasts, and they had announced that they had closed their offices down. And I want to say that was on March 10th. And when they had done that, for me, it seemed a little bit radical. And obviously, we were, trying to find our bearings and figure out what a professional space would look like in terms of going to the office. And there wasn't a whole lot of work from home the way that there is now. And so when they announced that, I was like, oh, I guess this is something that I should really be looking into and trying to figure out. And then I actually had tickets with my girlfriend to go to the Warriors Nets game on March 12th. And that was something that for me stands out because it was going to be my first time going to the new arena in San Francisco instead of going to Oracle in Oakland. And, I was really excited because the Nets have my favorite player, Kyrie Irving, and they canceled the game. And that was the first day slate of games that had been canceled outside of the games that were actually canceled while they're about to play and during play on the 11th. So that was kind of when I first realized that the sports side of things wouldn't be as prepared to handle something like that.
Cool. So throughout, the NBA has been recognized as one of the best prepared sports organizations to take on this. What were your thoughts when this bubble season was first introduced?
Well, first and foremost, I was proud of the league because the league put the players first and said, hey, the safety of our players and the safety of our fans is going to outweigh the fiscal impact that it's going to take by us shutting down. They were doing everything that they could moving forward after that to not only finish the season, but finish the season in a safe way. So my initial impact for how the NBA and the NBPA and the commissioner handled it was overtly positive, and just really proud to see how the league handled that.
Okay, so of course, at the professional level, they had some sort of handle of everything. It came out, best case scenario. But back home, things were a little different. Parks closed down, courts took off hoops. What is that like for someone who usually plays in the community with a group of friends and everything?
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. It was tough. It was weird, especially coming out of March. I'm somebody who definitely is used to playing basketball a lot, and it's a big part of my social experience with my friends. When I was in college, we used to get together and all play for hours, multiple times a week. And so when that kind of went away, um, kind of combined with the fear of the pandemic itself, because we didn't really know what was going on in March, I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to play basketball at all. You know, it's not nearly as fun when you're playing by yourself, and I still do it. And I can assure you, it's more fun with friends. Um, but leading out of the pandemic, or in March, when it was really, really a scary time, I was thinking that, hey, this might change the face of sports. It might change the face of the game. This idea that it's transmitted via air. It's an airborne illness, but then it also might be able to live on surfaces, and the basketball changing hands so much and sweat and, all that stuff, I really was nervous for the game in general. And yeah, it was difficult. And then honestly, over time it wore at me, and I was doing all these outdoor workouts by myself. And, over time you just, kind of a threshold for what you can do alone. Right. And I reached that threshold in the same way that I think everybody in March was great about wearing the mask and really washing their hands for 20 seconds and frequently, and washing the vegetables when you bring them home from, Target or whatever. I think that kind of went away a little bit with the basketball thing, because I was just dying to play and I wanted to see my friends. Earlier this month, actually, one of the guys that I played basketball with, who's my best friend from college, he contracted COVID. So now, we're all thinking, well, what were we doing by playing basketball and putting each other at risk? So that part of it's really scary, and it was really difficult for me, because I got to a place where I was like, loving playing basketball again and getting to have that friendly competition and just the social, just the social interaction, being able to talk about not only what's happening in the league in person instead of texting and, sending each other things on Instagram, but actually being able to have a conversation about a game that we just played, right? Oh, you looked so great out there. Or I thought, my conditioning's gone, I'm out of shape and all that stuff. And having those interactions is really important. So,
Well, season's coming back in December. So you have that to look forward to. And what about next week or so?
yeah, the NBA is, I mean, technically it's back. We've gotten preseason games over the past 2 days, which has been awesome. It's been great to actually watch some games getting played. So many guys were out due to injury, and also so many guys were out due to the effects of I want to say COVID, like the general effects of COVID. Not a lot of guys got sick by it, but it definitely impacted the league in a way that I don't think a lot of the NBA players were ready for, and that includes me as a fan. Like Russell Westbrook had it, and then he came back in the bubble and really wasn't the same, even though he was cleared as being healthy and asymptomatic. I mean, there was a difference, and maybe that's just taking a couple weeks off and leading back into this bubble situation. But he wasn't the same, right? And then also like Karl-Anthony Towns, his family was devastated with COVID. I don't know if it's some sort of a pre-existing condition again that his family has, but he lost seven different family members to COVID, and also including his mom. And so he wasn't right, either. So I think that the effects of the league, dealing with COVID and the bubble and all that stuff, there's still residue from that. And I think that the league is coming together to be responsible and look ahead to 2021.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. Well, thanks for sitting with me. They're saying that a vaccine is going to come into play maybe in May of next year, and I'm sure that'll change the dynamic of things too. And just kind of wait.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm sure that when it does happen, the guys who are mid-season and leading into playoff contention will be at the top of the list for getting those vaccines as well. So should have a lot of basketball to watch.